that scares the hell out of me. You know, I don't want to die early. My name is Michael, and I am morbidly obese. I am 31 years old, and I weigh 280 pounds as of this morning. This is my first time doing a video like this, talking about my obesity and the problems that come with it. Recently, there was a Swolvengers podcast with Alan from Every Damn Day Fitness, Papa Swolio from Swolenormous, and John Glott from Obese to Beast, and they were talking about how there is a need for more obese people to come out and talk about realities of obesity. So I thought that I would do a video about this. I'm not sure if anyone's ever actually going to see this, but if I can just be one more in a number of people talking about it, I figure that would help. So I guess I'll just kind of start with a history of my obesity. I'm 31 years old, but I've been overweight or obese most of my life. Started from probably around middle school or so was the first time that I noticed that I was bigger than anyone else. And I never learned the proper way to eat. My family was obese. My mom, my dad, my older brother, my older sister, my younger brother, all of us obese. I am what is known, I guess, as a yo-yo dieter. I am quite proficient at putting on and taking off weight. So the first time that I started losing weight, I was at 260 pounds. This was just coming into grad school. And I had to go to Colorado for work. And I absolutely love nature. I love outdoors. I love hiking and rock climbing and backpacking. And I went for a trip on the weekend there just up into the Flatirons area, the Front Range, and tried just doing what was supposed to be a simple hike. I started out quite early, about 6 o'clock in the morning, knowing that it would probably take me a little while to get to the summit, and I wanted to get up and down before thunderstorms that afternoon. But unfortunately, I was about 2/3 of the way up when I just could not go any further. I was completely out of breath. I had no energy left, and I still had to walk I think it was 5 miles back to my car. Even though it was downhill, I wasn't even sure if I'd be able to do that. And that was a pretty big wake-up call for me the first time. I went back to Texas where I was living at the time, and I decided I was going to make a change. My brother had lost weight doing a ketogenic diet. I decided that I would try that as well, and it did work. I was on it for about 6 months, lost 80 pounds, got down to 180 pounds, and was feeling absolutely fantastic. I started doing sports again. I joined some intramural teams doing softball, kickball. I was running at the time. I did a half marathon. I was really just enjoying being really physically active, and it was absolutely great. But then I went off of the ketogenic diet, and I slowly went back to my old habits. And it was pretty subtle. It was a slow change. There's not like a single thing that I noticed that would define me going from being healthy to being really unhealthy again. But I started noticing my weight going up, and it didn't stop. I don't remember exactly what weight I made it back up to before I lost weight again, but I went back on a ketogenic diet and lost a little bit of weight. Got down to, I think, around 200. And then I gained weight again. You know, grad school is difficult, and you know, between the hours of doing that and just everyday life, things that I was struggling with, my weight started to go up again. And it went this way, up, down, up, down, up, down for years now it's been. So I'm 3 years out of grad school now. So it's been a wild ride. As I said in the beginning of the video, I am 280 pounds, and that's 20 pounds, almost 20, that's 15 pounds down from my peak weight of 295 pounds. That was almost hitting that 300 was pretty difficult. That was kind of a wake-up call. I went through some pretty rough times recently. When about almost 3 years ago, I moved to where I am now, and I started a new job. I was 250 pounds, and I wanted to get active again, and I figured a new start would be a good time to take back on losing weight. And I did it the right way, you know. I counted calories, I improved the quality of my food, I went to the doctor, I got checked out, made sure I was healthy, to do exercise, I started running again. You know, I cut out things that caused me problems like dairy and gluten, and things were going great. I dropped 25 pounds or so. I joined a CrossFit gym. My friend recommended that I try that out, and that was great. Being active in CrossFit kept me losing weight, kept me feeling strong. I gained a lot of muscle. You know, I did a DEXA scan, which measures your body fat, your lean mass, and your body fat, and I did that right around when I started, and about 6 months later, and I had lost 20 pounds more fat, but my weight barely changed. Only changed maybe 5-10 pounds, so I'd put on a good chunk of muscle. And I was feeling great, but then life kind of got hard. Went through some personal problems. My relationship things got difficult there. My wife and I ended up separating, and within that time period, that was back in December of last year, up through summer now, I gained 50 pounds. A little bit more than 50 pounds, I guess. So that was reached back up to 295. I stopped going to the gym. I started feeling guilty about not going to the gym, and then I started gaining weight because of that, because I was binging because of the guilt, and then I didn't want to feel like I let the people at the gym down, the people who were, you know, always congratulating me on PRs and on losing weight and being healthy. You know, my rock climbing friends that I had made there, we had been going rock climbing every week, and I feel like I let them down by gaining weight, which seems kind of weird that I would frame it in that way, but I was feeling guilty. But then I hit that 295. You know, I got a new place. You know, I got a new place now that my wife and I are separated, and again, it seemed like a time for another good start. And I started out with keto again, and I lost, you know, the initial 15 or so pounds, and then I didn't want to get stuck in that trap again. I didn't want to get stuck in this specific diet where I really had to cut back on a lot of things that didn't set me up for long-term for long-term success. And so now I've tried to go back towards just quality foods, tracking my calories, tracking my macros, specifically like protein, trying to make sure that I keep the muscle that I have while losing weight. So that was kind of the history of my weight loss, but I think another important part that I want to talk about here is the effects of my obesity. You know, what it's like day to day for me, and you know, why I feel like you can't be healthy at every size. Now, I feel like there's different classifications of obesity, right? So not only do you just have the BMI scale where you have obese and then morbidly obese, But I guess they've also now added in this idea of super morbidly obese. I am technically morbidly obese. I'm 5'6", 280 pounds. That is morbidly obese. If I step back here, I'm not, I guess, on the same kind of level as some of the people that you might consider morbidly obese, the extremes, but I definitely am. The health effects, the long-term health effects are still going to be there. If I don't take care of my situation and I'm cutting my life short, I can't do the things that I love. So some effects of my morbid obesity. The first of which is joint pain, my knees specifically. I love physical activity. I love CrossFit. I love going to classes and pushing myself, but I found that my mind far outpaces the ability of my body right now. I want to push and push. So one of the things I noticed that you really improve when you start doing a lot of like high intensity training is your conditioning improves, right? So your cardiovascular health. My resting heart rate went from in the mid 80s down now to the mid 60s, sometimes into the 50s. So, I'm able to push and keep pushing my body during high intensity training, much further than I think the rest of my body can handle. And that's quite evident by the fact that when I try to do things, I try to push too hard, my body resists, my knees resist. I might want to do, I can do 100, jump ropes at a time, and that's not a problem. I can sit there and jump rope for a long time. But the balls of my feet, my knees, they start to just hurt and ache so much. And it might be where I have trouble just getting up off the couch because they hurt so much. 280 pounds is a lot to carry on your legs. Despite whether or not I have massive calves and really strong muscles down there, like it can only do so much. And so I'm in daily knee pain, and it makes training really difficult. It's emotionally difficult because I want to push and I feel like my body's betraying me, but what's actually happened is I betrayed my body. Another thing is stomach issues, right? I like to binge on things like bread. I've watched some other people talk about videos. I think Obese to Beast talked about or Obese to Beast and Alan from Every Damn Day Fitness, they both talked about binging bread, right? That's a big one. Just loaves of bread. I've done that. I've done that this week. I've been struggling this week with my weight loss and with eating what I need to do, and I've had some setbacks, and bread is one of them. But I'm also I also have a gluten problem, and so it causes me severe physical pain. So much so that at one point I went in and saw a gastroenterologist because I thought there has to be something wrong, right? I have to have Crohn's, I have to have ulcerative colitis or something like that, something to cause me this physical pain. They went in, they did an endoscopy, a colonoscopy, they found nothing, absolutely nothing. And I was almost flabbergasted because I thought there's no way that this can be because of what I'm eating, right? And it was absolutely because of the food that I was eating. Not only was I eating the wrong types of food, I was eating really poor quality food. And so when I eat healthy, I feel better. I feel so much better. Not only do I have more energy, I don't hurt. I don't feel like I have the flu. The day after I binge, I can absolutely feel like I am physically sick. And I've stayed home from work before because of that. It's tough to, go into work and feel like crap, want to go home, want to feel like, want to take a sick day. Usually when you get sick, it's out of your control, right? You get a cold, you get the flu, allergies, something. and you take that sick day so you can go home and feel better. Well, what if it's your fault, right? And you really want to how do you feel about taking a sick day for something you did to yourself? And then if you take a sick day and you go home and you feel like crap and you want to binge, and you binge and you prolong that sick day another day. Yeah. Another part that's been really tough is the expenses, right? I feel like not a lot of people talk about this. I've watched My 600-Pound Life before. I've watched documentaries on super morbidly obese people, and they never talk about how expensive it is. Food's expensive. Whether or not you're eating out or just going to the grocery store, eating 4,000 or 5,000 calories, that can be expensive. I know that at my worst, earlier this year, I could easily spend $30 a day eating out, going to the grocery store. I did a kind of a combination with my binging. I would either go out and grab something, or maybe on my way home from work, or I would actually leave home, go and pick something up if I didn't feel like cooking. But I also binged on food that I cooked. Over those several months when my binging was at its worst, where I was binging every other day, sometimes every day, I racked up a lot of debt that I'm paying off for a while, because I was eating expensive, a lot of food, and that's expensive, and it took a big toll. When I'm eating healthy, I can save money, so much money, just by eating healthy. I constantly hear this idea of, well, healthy food is more expensive, and some of it is, sure, but I'm also not going to be eating as much overall food, and so my whole budget goes down significantly. So for me, being obese is being in debt. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was this health at every size, fat acceptance movement, and the reason I made this video was because I'm an obese person, talking about my obesity and how it's affected me, and the idea that, me being obese somehow gives my message more weight than someone who is fit, or ex-fat, as they say. And I feel like even being obese, I would imagine I could still get some pushback from, fat acceptance movement as being internalizing fat phobia, or self-hating fat. But the way that I feel about myself, the way that I view my obesity has nothing to do with how society views me, right? Sure, someone might see me and think differently because I am obese. Whether or not that's lazy or whatever other stereotype that they might have towards obesity, to an obese person, that doesn't matter to me. I really am not someone who cares a lot about how society views me. The reason that I feel that my obesity is wrong, because I want to be my best self, right? I want to do the things that I enjoy. I want to hike, I want to backpack, I want to climb mountains, I want to go rock climbing. I want to take my dog on a walk and not have to worry about feeling like, I'm getting too tired. I want to be able to move, right? Like move an apartment and not have to constantly be taking breaks. Even in extreme cases, like what if there's an emergency, right? I want to be able to run down some stairs if there's a fire. I want to be able to carry someone if I need to, like my dogs. Like if there's a fire in my apartment or in the apartment building and I need to carry one of my dogs down the stairs and out of my building, like, can I do that? What if I'm too heavy to do that? I enjoy life, right? And I enjoy everything that I have around me. And I don't want that to be shortened, I want to spend as much time as I possibly can on Earth, experiencing everything that I can, everything that we're so privileged to have. And I just want to be healthy. I don't want to die early. They say that if you have a lot of weight around your stomach, that's a kind of almost like a warning sign towards, heart disease and cardiovascular issues in the future. And that if you don't get your weight down by a certain age, it's like your mid-30s, like that significantly increases your chance of a shorter lifespan. And that scares the hell out of me. I don't want to die early. So it has nothing to do with how society views me. It has nothing to do with internalizing the, fat phobia from anyone else. This is all me wanting to be my best self. And I just kind of want to say, a thank you to, I guess they're being called now the Soul Avengers, right? People like Jean-Claude, Alan Dash, Michelle McDaniels, from My Thoughts May Offend You, Charlie Gold. I really, really appreciate everything that they're doing, and they're helping me stay motivated to be healthy, right? I don't want to be one of those, another person, another number in the ever-growing obesity epidemic or crisis in the world. So that's it. Thanks so much.